The classroom clock ticked loudly, each second hammering like a countdown to disaster. Room 200 buzzed with muffled laughter, snickering teens, and the silent anticipation of another new teacher. It was the third one in 5 months. Everyone knew the drill. They came, they tried, they left. But when the door creaked open, and a slim figure walked in with nothing more than a clipboard, a worn leather bag, and a serene smile, the whispers intensified. Another one. She won't last a week. I give her a day. Maybe an hour. The woman at the front of the class looked nothing like what the students expected. Mid-30s, short hair tucked behind one ear, glasses perched on her nose, not the military type, who'd bark or the naive kind who'd plead. She wrote her name on the board with graceful strokes, Ms. Rivera. She turned around, eyes scanning the room, calm and unwavering. Good morning. Silence. Then a pencil flew across the room and smacked against the whiteboard. Laughter erupted. Ms. Rivera smiled, picked up the pencil, and set it neatly on her desk. Someone lost this, she said softly. I'll leave it here for you to claim. The students didn't know it yet, but the battle had already begun. In the back row sat Ethan, the self-proclaimed king of chaos. Tall, broad-shouldered, a smirk that never quite faded. His crew Lana, Jordan, and Marcus fed off his energy. Together, they'd run off every teacher who dared to stay longer than a month. Lana blew a bubble with her gum and snapped it loudly. You're not gonna make us read Shakespeare, are you? No, Ms. Rivera replied, her voice still gentle. Not yet. Jordan let out an exaggerated sigh of relief. Finally. A teacher who gets us. Ms. Rivera continued, as if she hadn't heard the sarcasm. Today, I just want to get to know you. Tell me something about yourself, anything. No one spoke. Okay, she nodded. Then I'll start. She sat on the edge of the desk. When I was 17, I failed English, miserably, not because I wasn't smart, but because I was angry. Angry at the world, at my parents, at teachers who didn't listen. One day, I cursed at my teacher in front of the whole class. She didn't punish me. Instead, she asked me why I was hurting. The room quieted. Not because they cared yet, but because no teacher had ever talked like this. Ethan rolled his eyes. Is this some therapy session now? No, she said, meeting his gaze. It's a classroom. But real learning can't begin unless we're honest. He smirked again, and this time, he tossed a crumpled paper at her feet. Here's my honesty. I don't care. Lana laughed. Jordan high-fived him. Ms. Rivera picked up the paper, smoothed it out, and placed it on her desk. Then she walked slowly to the window, opened it just a crack, and said, then I guess we'll have to start from where you are. What came next was unexpected. She didn't argue, didn't threaten. She gave them an assignment. Write a letter to someone you've never forgiven. The class groaned. You don't have to turn it in, she added. You don't even have to sign your name, but write like no one will ever read it. You've got 10 minutes. Ethan crossed his arms. Lana scribbled curse words and drew stick figures. Jordan tore the paper. Marcus threw his pen on the ground. But something was shifting. Because when the bell rang, Ms. Rivera collected the folded notes silent and solemn. And she left without another word. The next day, she returned with the same soft smile. No one said a word when she walked in. She held up a piece of paper and read. You left us without saying goodbye, and I had to pretend I wasn't broken. No name, no judgment, just silence. She read another. You never saw me, not really. And all I ever wanted was for you to ask if I was okay. Ethan's foot tapped. Jordan looked out the window. Lana bit her lip. They weren't laughing anymore. By the end of the week, Ms. Rivera had them writing stories, not essays. Drawing their memories, even if they weren't pretty. She never handed out grades, only wrote words like "you matter" or "this hurt to read." Thank you for trusting me. But Ethan, he didn't write. He didn't speak. Until the Friday she asked a question that stunned the whole room. What do you wish someone told you when you were 5? The room fell still. Lana whispered, that I was enough. Asterisk Jordan muttered that it wasn't my fault. Asterisk Marcus choked up that I could be more. Asterisk and then Ethan stood. His voice was quiet, unfamiliar. Asterisk that he wasn't coming back. Asterisk Ms. Rivera didn't say a word. She just nodded. Asterisk Monday came. A note was on her desk, unsigned. Asterisk why do you care? Asterisk she wrote back. Asterisk because someone didn't care about me once. And it almost destroyed me. Asterisk the tide turned that day. Asterisk Ethan stayed after class. He asked about books, real books, with broken heroes. He stayed silent most of the time, but his eyes began to watch her closely. His insults vanished. Asterisk one day, Lana tripped another girl in the hallway. Ms. Rivera saw it, said nothing, but called her in after school. Asterisk Lana was ready for the lecture. Asterisk instead, Ms. Rivera handed her a mirror. Look at yourself, she said. Asterisk what? Why? Asterisk because you're becoming someone you don't like. Asterisk tears welled. No punishment, no detention. Just truth. Asterisk Jordan got caught cheating. Ms. Rivera asked him to explain why. He confessed he couldn't read well, had been faking it for years. She offered to help. No shame. Asterisk Marcus once made fun of a boy's stutter. Ms. Rivera gave him a poem to read aloud, one that spoke about fear. It changed him. Asterisk, and then came the day of the assembly. Asterisk Ethan's name was on the list to speak. He hadn't agreed. Someone had nominated him anonymously. Asterisk the principal looked unsure. You don't have to, he said. Asterisk Ms. Rivera just looked at Ethan and whispered, tell your story. Not for them, for you. Asterisk he walked on stage, stood in front of 300 students. Asterisk my name is Ethan, he began, voice cracking, and I used to think breaking people made me strong. But I was just scared someone would see the real me. Then this teacher came. She didn't fight me. She didn't quit. She just listened. Asterisk you could hear a pin drop. Asterisk in 60 seconds, I tried to break her. But in 60 seconds, she taught me more about strength than I'd ever known. Asterisk he turned to her. Thank you for seeing the boy I was hiding. Asterisk the students rose. Applause thundered through the room. Ms. Rivera didn't cry, but her eyes glistened. Asterisk by the end of that year, something miraculous happened. Suspension rates dropped, failing students began passing. Asterisk, but more than grades, hearts were healing. Asterisk, and every student who once mocked, teased, and tormented. Asterisk they lined up after class one by one. Some whispered thank you, some left notes. Some cried. Asterisk, but all of them, every single one asked for forgiveness. Asterisk not because they were forced. Asterisk, but because Ms. Rivera never tried to break them back. Asterisk she rebuilt them instead. Asterisk, and in doing so, she changed not just their school year, but their lives. Asterisk forever.